What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 32 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Fay Enchantress Old World Classic campaign. There should be a modded somewhere in there. But anyway, as we saw last time, the realms have been restored with Bretonnia proper safe and with the southern realms, well, okay, they're still in trouble here, but at the very least, here we have captured Magritte, we have destroyed the Slaneshi and the Dark Elves, and, those elements of our borders are reasonably safe, and we are getting ready to push outward into new errantry wars and against new foes. Interestingly, or perhaps even annoyingly, the Templehof vampire counts have declared war, and thusly this may be where we lose our first caravan, as they will be traveling through the moot, and I don't know if they'll survive, but it is what it is. Couldn't have predicted that, obviously. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this particular turn, it is effectively a brand new turn, and while I did move the heroes around, none of the lords have been moved. And we're gonna start with the Fay Enchantress this time around. I think in order to try to save the caravan, what we're going to try and do is perhaps to try to head here. So, in that light, we're going to have the Fay Enchantress go to high deck, and I was hoping to fight this as a field battle and let them sally out, but I think we're not going to do that. We're going to sack high deck by fighting the siege, and then we're immediately going to try to move here to protect the caravan, and while it's sacked, we will use Eleanor of the Braid to occupy it. Also, what do you have again? Your Heavens and Barkskin. Yeah, fair enough. Alrighty. Let's level everybody up. Do we need to? Yeah, you got a few points here. We can at the very least get Blinding Majesty. Selective Abhorrence is pretty useful, and into Blinding Majesty like so. Lots more weapon strength. You, Mr. Friar. Raymond Diderot. Oh, there was a name suggestion for one of the friars. I'm just going to do this right now. You are going to be Air Friar Diderot. And yeah, Air Friar Diderot. Makes sense. Alrighty, anyway, you have been Addiction. We could get you a Fervor, I guess, get you hitting a little bit harder. Frankly, your melee attack and defense's stats are actually very solid. Could even get you hitting hard, keeping in mind that the weapon strength is vastly inflated because we have the Green Knight buffing up all heroes on the map, giving them more HP, giving them more stats, 20% or 25% more weapon strength, something along those lines. So our heroes are looking a lot stronger than they normally would be. Anyway, Sir Amalric, the Point Hungry, with whom we don't have enough points to get everything. We will get you Blade Shield and then go into Woundmaker, I think. Get you hitting a little bit harder into Deadly Onslaught. We're definitely going to have to sacrifice some stuff here, which is a bit of a shame, but that's what happens with a super point hungry legendary knight like this. Anyway, for once, we're going to start the episode off with the Fay Enchantress fighting. It's been a couple of episodes, so let's see if her troops can enjoy themselves. Go. I mean, dramatic, because if we don't win this day, I don't think Bretonnia would be lost at all, because we're past the borders of Bretonnia, and, well, the Ironclaw works are pretty much broken, so whether high deck here falls or doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Obviously, a empire controlled by orcs would be a massive problem for Bretonnia, as they already have an orc problem that they can't really deal with, but this is one minor settlement, and yeah. But anyway, I digress. Here we go. As usual, the Fay Enchantress and the Green Knight are going to batter down a gate, as they have done many a time through the siege battles over the course of this campaign, while we will start moving our infantry forward. I oftentimes feel bad when the enemy's siege equipment and towers don't get to fire upon our units, so while we will fire upon the enemy towers with our trebuchets, we will also take fire from the enemy towers into our peasant ranks. At least those towers that can. And in fact, it feels like it's been a bit since you've fired, but I don't know what the cooldown on the... well, actually, maybe that is on it? Just out of curiosity. What do we have here? Reload time 15 seconds. Alright, so it will, in theory, want to fire again. if it can do so before it gets brought down by the artillery pieces. Come on now. They've done some damage. The Tartan army has lost 9 of its number here and about 20% of its HP, which ain't too bad, but I don't think this tower... Oh, it gets one last shot off into these 2 units of peasant mobs, and more shots coming in from the other units. The peasants run right through the little camp tents and stuff here. Oh yeah, well, this would be more annoying with another army, because, you know, the peasants bring them down, but we're just gonna force the peasants to set them right back up, so, yeah. For all we know, one of the knights directly ordered the peasants to run through it and destroy their own hard work, only to force them to set them back up. But anyway, just for their amusement. The gates are looking, well, about a third HP remaining on it, and then the other one with the Grail Guardians, we've got about 15k HP. In the meantime, our Paladin has been dueling the enemy Black Orc Big Boss, who he has pretty soundly defeated here, losing about 5% of his HP for killing off the Black Orc Big Boss. In the meantime, though, it looks like the Orc Shaman moves in to fight the Paladin, which, you know, Orcy Shamans or Orcy casters are pretty fighty. I do like my wizards fighty, and I mean, it's a wizard, but it is an Orc. He can still club you to death with his staff pretty well. Plus, this guy doesn't have it, unfortunately, but there's an Orc wizard trait that's like plus 50% or plus 100% weapon strength or something like that. So you can get a wizard with a base sort of weapon strength of like 600 or 700. It's pretty great. And just remember from the last time I played Orcs, and ooh, while standing on top of the walls, he launches off a gaze of Mork, hitting our reinforcing prophetess. Fortunately, being a prophetess of life, anytime she casts, she'll just life bloom herself, and she will just heal up. Anyway, as you guys know, I don't like using the butt ladder. Oh wow, that poor man. I don't think he's getting up from that. Anyway, as you guys know, I don't like using the butt ladders. In fact, we never did throughout this entire campaign, but for variety's sake, because it will make absolutely no difference in this particular fight, as we all know, I guess, that if we just use the Fay Enchantress and the Green Knight and the Grail Guardians, that is more than sufficient to destroy everything within the settlement. The peasants don't really need to fight. We have them fight for fun, for our amusement. And, well, since their gates are going to be a while before being brought down, why not have the Battle Pilgrims fight up on top of the walls, facing off against Orc Boys, Biggins, and even Black Orcs up here as well, and we'll see how well they can do against them. The Black Orcs in particular are going to be something of an issue. We have very heavy armor on them, obviously, and very low armor piercing on the Grail, or the Battle Pilgrims. I gotta remember to double check if the Fay Enchantress has a Banner of Eternal Flame in her army, because Banners of Eternal Flame give base weapon percent damage increase to the units in an area. I think 20%, which is actually fairly significant and is great for a unit like this that has very little armor piercing and tons of base weapon damage. Not so great in their inability to pierce the armor of those Black Orcs, but, you know, over time, they just have to hold out. And they're doing pretty okay. We can see the Biggins over on the left side are getting absolutely crushed. Their unit is down to about 20% of the HP, their HP rather, as the Reliquary Tenders and Resistance is Feudal tear them to shreds, whereas the Tartan army and Morgiana's Merry Men taking on the Black Orcs are going to take a little bit longer. Ooh, an artillery barrage right into one unit of archers. I'm pretty sure I didn't order the trebuchets to do that. They just decided this unit in particular. But they were firing arrows into the faces of those Grail Guardians, so I guess it does make sense. Perhaps the Grail Guardians don't like eating too many arrows. Although if anybody can literally eat an arrow, it's probably a Grail Guardian of the sort of mortal or semi-mortal humans at any rate. Anyway, we have got the bounce power still very even at about 50-50. The Grail Guardians have broken through their gate, and we have broken through the gate here as well, but while Morgiana and the Green Knight are in the lead, together with the Wardens of La Maison Tal and the billions of peasant mobs behind them, the enemy has clustered more units of Biggins, Boar Boys, and Black Orcs around the gate, so it's going to be another brawl down here. The only place where it isn't a brawl, where the peasantry will easily follow into the enemy settlement, is where the Grail Guardians simply break through, but that's unsurprising, because they're such a ridiculously strong unit. And thanks to their immunity to contact effects, they're not going to be too scared of those Forest Goblin Spider Riders and their lethal poison. Alright, how's the brawl going? Also, if you're wondering why I decided to send specifically the Battle Pilgrims up here and the Peasant Mobs through the gate, it's a matter of numbers of units. The Battle Pilgrims have 120, I believe, units in their number, whereas each Peasant Mob has 260. This is actually a problem up on top of the walls, wherein a single unit of peasant mobs would fill up the limited space on top of the walls so much that we wouldn't really have an easy time of getting the Battle Pilgrims up there and fighting, and they're the ones that are doing the damage normally. So it's better to just send the Battle Pilgrims without the peasant mobs in this particular case, though obviously the peasant mobs have much more HP and would normally be there to tarp at the enemy and take a lot more damage. I mean, they have more HP by virtue of having a billion more models, and I think they have like twice as much. They have like max 23,000 HP versus the max 12,000 HP. Nearly twice as much, but that's what they're for. That's what they're for. And lots and lots and lots of models, so it's more than twice as much models, so it makes sense, even if each individual model has less HP than a battle, or than a Grail Pilgrim. Battle Pilgrim. Ugh. Quantity is equality and all that. Anyway, looks like over on the left flank, the Orc boys have been pretty much defeated. Only a few Biggins left. I guess another unit of Biggins has moved in. Well, the first one was obliterated, and 2 Orc boys units were obliterated, and then the third one about to follow suit. The Black Orcs are still fighting over on the other side, but they're down to about 20% of their HP now. More Black Orcs still preventing us from breaking through, but the Green Knight and Morgiana in the lead, together with Sir Amalric, remaining my favorite Bretonnian because of his glorious hat. And, of course, the Holy Wardens of La Maison Tal following them in, looking all fancy and lighting up the darkness with their magical weapons and their burning swords. And obviously, we could have easily cleared all of this out with a single cast of Dwellers Below from the Fay Enchantress, but as you guys know, I don't really like to use damaging spells as much as I like using buffing spells, just because I like to see my units actually fight, rather than just carrying the day with magic. Obviously, there's exceptions, like when you're playing Kairos or Teclis or somebody who's going to be wanting to cast, but Morgiana's actually very solid in melee. Especially because she has a mini Mortis Engine effect and the debuffs on her, the combination of the Iron Ice armor we have with her, together with her Mortis Engine effect, which is a -8 as well, or something like that. It's in here. Somewhere. Trust me. Yeah, Mist of the Lady, yeah, -8 melee attack. Plus, if our Friar, I believe, has the Glittering Scales as well, so together all of that is a -22 melee attack just for being near anybody, or just being near to our main units. Which is pretty nasty. Obviously, not a big effect on something like Black Orcs under WA, but without the WA, -22 basically halves their melee attack in theory. So while these guys obviously were not susceptible to it, being on top of the wall and fighting our Battle Pilgrims, formerly fighting our Battle Pilgrims, the other ones very much were. Anyway, looks like the Black Orcs are defeated at last, and they actually did pretty good, about 20% HP losses on all of our Battle Pilgrims up here, keeping in mind that they did have support for Morgiana's casting. And one of our Grail relics was down below the walls, providing them their aura. In the meantime, while Morgiana leads the giant piles of peasant mobs into the fray, there are still a few units that were in the midst of the enemy's settlement, so we are going to move we have moved, our battle Grail Guardians. It's always battle something, Grail something. and thus me constantly confused. Move these guys in together with our Pegasus riding paladin to cut down what remains. And the Green Knight joins the fray, simply riding through everybody's ranks, which kind of makes sense, thanks to his ethereal nature. And by the looks of it, just a little bit more work, and these last units will be cut down. The enemies are fleeing from the piles of peasant mobs now. The walls are clear, the settlement is well and truly breached. A few black orcs remain, but they'll be torn apart by the unwashed masses there. And just a matter of time now, as what units remain have no hope of besting the Grail Guardians, especially as they have no anti-large range units. If Warband had constructed some savage orc error boys with their anti-large, perhaps they could have done some damage. But again, it would have been a matter of needing armor piercing against these guys, although 94 armor actually feels a little bit low. Tired gives you 16. Oh, huh. Wait, the Grail Guardians don't have perfect vigor? That's surprising. I would have expected them to have perfect vigor, or at the very least, vigorous. Just out of curiosity. Huh. Yes, okay, so Grail Vitality does give them an equivalent of Vigorous via the Phase 2. Okay. So they don't need the Vigorous trait direct. But they are still tired, winded at the very least. Alright, well, that's just fine. It looks like they have cut down many an orca. The peasants are simply running down what enemy units are running away to the left and right sort of flanks to the sides of the city. A nice little charge right into the wall. Oh man, imagine all the Grail Knights just charging at a wall by accident at full speed. I don't know, they would survive. I don't know what about their horses though, just leading them directly into a wall. Can't be too good for them. Alrighty, and by the looks of it, with that, no, there is still a unit of work Brigands remaining. Alright, well then we'll just do the same thing, charge through them. I'm actually quite impressed at how long these orcs are holding out. Certainly taking much longer than I was expecting. Nothing to say, because with that, okay, that is something to say. The enemy army at last shatters, and the battle is ours. And the I'm still laughing at the idea of the Grail Guardians all rushing through the enemy too fast and having all their horses smash into a wall and just die. As far as I know, Grail Guardian or Grail Knight horses are just normal horses. Granted, they're Bretonnian horses, which makes them pretty good, descended from elven steeds in theory, and are the best war horses in the world. Not the fastest horses, obviously, that goes to the elves, but certainly the hardiest. But anyway, that's still not probably going to allow them to survive a full speed charge into a wall like that, but it would be entertaining. Anyway, well, not for maybe the Grail Knights. Anyway, with that, this battle comes to a close. Alrighty, there we go. Like I said, I don't usually like to use the butt ladders. In fact, this is the first time that we use them in this entire campaign because it made no difference. It didn't help us. And if it doesn't help us, we can use it for enjoyment purposes, which meant allowing our piles of peasantry, especially the units of battle pilgrims, to actually fight and take on those black orcs up on the walls. And speaking thereof, and by a hair's breadth in terms of damage dealt, but by a large margin in terms of damage dealt as gold value, it's Morgiana's merry men. They were merry, the orcs maybe equally merry because they got a nice fight out of it, but, well, they stopped being merry once they were, dead. For the peasant mobs, with 8.6k, nearly doubling anybody else of the other peasant mobs, it's nothing to lose. I guess you fight You fight harder when you got nothing to lose. And then, well, obviously 33k damage. Green Knight always does solid, though our Paladin Julian here definitely paid for himself. He did really well. He got 27k damage. He killed off the enemy Black Orc Big Boss and the Orc Shaman, as well as leading the Endesnay and the Knights of Ni, who both got 66k damage into the fray and sort of separated from the rest of the fight, while Morgiana, 59k, did very well in commanding and keeping the peasants alive despite facing off against Black Orcs and Biggins and all that. Though they did take a fair few cannonballs to the face. That's just life sometimes. It's better than a nuke. Anyway, not that you're gonna survive either. High deck we will sack. We don't really care about keeping it for ourselves, and the Fay Enchantress looter. That's funny. But anyway, Tormentor's Sword.
What is your behest?
We're sacking it for a purpose here, and that purpose is so that the Fay Enchantress can go immediately here. And maybe this will allow us to protect the caravan. I don't know where the next node is, and I also don't know exactly how caravans travel, whether it directly goes to the node or... Huh. Actually a decent pile of undead, but... I wonder whether we should actually auto-resolve it or fight it, because these guys do have a lot of armies nearby, but only this one can reach us, and this one isn't a threat. That's the thing. Which makes me think that we're probably free to auto-resolve this. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a decent pile of Graveguard, but unbuffed, without Corpse Carts, Graveguard are very meh. Auto-resolve. And Occupy. Like so. Alright, we got ourselves a nice Charmed Shield. We got the... Yeah, we can keep the guardhouse here. Good. And then Eleanor, you can grab High Deck, like so. Lovely. And though it does have a... Ancient Battle Site landmark... And we will be trading this away, so we don't really care about it. Do we want to repair it? No. I don't want to waste the cash. Renee, you're also moving northward. You were just like one turn away from beating the caravan here, which would have been really helpful. But anyway, you're the one that was supposed to go fighting the undead, not the Fay Enchantress. Though admittedly, you know, Amalric is here and he wanted to as well. Green Knight, the last couple of levels that we got for you, before you disappear for a bunch of time, I guess let's go for a Vicious Temper, and you know what, let's get Sacred Sites of Power. Get the corruption reduction for a teensy bit. I like so. Actually, you know what, Ancient Sites of Power and to the defense for the reinforcement range. I like so. What's the likelihood that these guys besiege us here? Low? I'm gonna say low. They could, but we'd suffer attrition anyway if we stood outside there, so yeah. Now this doesn't make us immune to attrition. And Spread the Word does, but we wouldn't be able to... I'm pretty sure, wait. Oh, we can spread the word. You know what? Yeah, let's do that then. It's safer. I like so. Don't collect the income here either. Lovely. Okie dokie, that worked out reasonably well. Let's see who's next. Bertrand the Brigand, the legend, the savior. Alright, a little... Peasant Cetra in the making. You're going to go right here, and then we'll cross the ocean afterwards. Like so. Across the channel, I guess. We will want to change up your army slightly, but we have to wait until the units that are traveling get there, so we'll wait. You, Areolas, you're gonna lead. Paladin's still with you, man. Again, exceptional offensive, eh? What do you guys have again? Overzealous defense and joust. I'd really like to double up on joust, but I don't know if we can get another one. This guy has an exceptional offensive, so we could double up there, but that seems to be more for killing single entities, which, again, is decent, but I'd really rather debuff some stuff for the knights. We had a virtue of joust with you, don't we? Yeah, but you're so far away. I don't think you're changing theaters of war. It's going to take too long. You're going to take like 50 years to move up there. Ooh, also, that reminds me, I believe our ship armies are now ready to go. We have the land ship to represent the fort castle, the trebuchets, which are also part of Bretonnian ships, the cannons, which are parts of their big old galleons, and I figured we'd go men-at-arms with polearms, because polearms were used on for ship combat in this time period, I'm pretty sure, and then the men-at-arms with longbows, mostly because the crossbows... well, we couldn't buff them here, even though I felt like the crossbows would make sense. considering what historically we're based on here, I think the longbows also make sense. So it's a nice couple of armies. We're going to send them both northward, I think. Travel by sea as well. Like so and like so. Huh, why can you not travel as far as this one? I don't know. Does it matter? Probably not. Go, go, go. And then I'd like both of them to essentially patrol the coastline near the north. We have just gotten a war declaration out of Norska, and I'm willing to bet, I mean, this is a lot of potential enemy coastline to cover, so we're gonna have to deal with it regardless. Anyway, that was Bertrand and the Sea Man. Malene Dutermain. Ah, yes, we have Gorbad Ironclaw here. We should probably separate our fighting a little bit, though. Do we want to attack? You don't want to do some building? Alright, let's do a little bit of building, and then we'll do another fight. That was a long fight with some heckin' long brawling, so yeah. Let's upgrade the Sanctuary of the Great Whatevers. I think it was Defenders, but I didn't read it, so whatevers will work. Gulf of the Bedouze, I forgot that we still have the defenses at Guaniar, and I think somebody pointed it out in the comments, but, well, it's no longer necessary, because this is no longer a position that we will need to defend. Alright, so Grave Aquila, nothing. Clan Boreal, nothing, or at the very least nothing we want to invest in. Vaults are, yeah, you know what, let's get the capacity out of this. Boyan, you're fine. Actually. You're fine. No tier 4, that's being deleted. Skaven Blight, I don't care. Castle Quinnell, lots of tier 5s, but we can't afford them. Let us upgrade the Sanctuary of the Great Defenders. Not the Great Whatevers, I guess. Farm and Grail Chapel. Stallion Plain. Yeah, get another one of these. And get the tap room. Can't go wrong. Tap room and farm. Montfort, I'd like to upgrade you because you're technically speaking a military hub, but or working towards being a military hub, but I guess you're kind of not ready for it. Anyway, let's keep up the growth. You're an Orchid Coast. Get that money flowing. And eventually we will be able to afford the tier 5 upgrades. But the sort of the central duchies are all upgraded, and those were the real tier 5s that we, you know, wanted. Other stuff isn't as critical. Right, anyway, let's keep upgrading, trying to concentrate on clicking the free upgrades and describe what I'm doing at the same time. But also try to do it as fast as possible. Jerez, oh, you have room. Rail Chapel or another Cutpurse camp. I think we do need more of these faceless capacities, so let's do that. Alright. And you are out of Bretonnia proper, and while we have been building some Cutpurse camps elsewhere, I like to build the vast majority of them either in the mountains or outside of Bretonnia directly. Where it gets a little bit more iffy as to what kind of stuff and tactics we use. Anyway, and let's go for the landed estate here. You, I believe, are going to go for the tap room, Samjek, and I guess we can start with another Grail Chapel. Go for it. Moslak, yes, to the upgrade. Hvarger Forest, yes to the tap room and the wood, and Slaaneshi Giggle, and in the town, you can go for the farm, and I believe Dovdan is actually supposed to be fortified, as it's part of our sort of a line of fortresses. And while maybe it's, well, I wouldn't call it short-sighted, but we are sharing a border with the Dowie, and who knows? Who knows? Again, we are militarily aligned with Durthu, and that, well, we've seen how that can end. Huh. What are we missing here? I don't know. Build a Grail Chapel then. Alright, Bay of Quietude. We will upgrade. I'm gonna go with Milena to get this thing, because it'll provide additional growth as well as faction-wide capacity. Or, reductions. You can go for the tap room, please. Oh, lovely. Fester Spike. Nope. That's a tier 5 upgrade. Farm, yes. Blue Reach, yes to the industry storehouse. Although, funnily enough, farms might have made more sense here in the livestock, but whatever, too late. The sort of outer portions of our empire are going with industry. Especially those that are on the front lines, kind of makes sense for them to have smiths and industry and be able to pump out troops as needed. I'm going to sow Reyes this time because, once again, upgrading the hunting lodge as it's a trade good. And we are about to get hopefully new trade partners in short order as we move to Albion. Let's upgrade, wow, 3.8k. Let's upgrade Soleil first. Why is Barley Mutt? Is it a yellow territory? Ah, it is a yellow territory. Makes sense to me. As to why it's more expensive, I mean. Anyway, you, go for the farm. And I guess we'll upgrade this place. Good. Allows Kypria. I'm gonna say Matorka, though Kypros is also a decent choice, but this once again has a trade. Oh, we can do both. Huh, didn't even need to consider it. And we're down to 98 cash. Oh, won't be able to recruit anymore, but I guess we could just recruit stuff next turn, not a big deal. Grungzint. At least now it'll be easy to see what's free to upgrade. High deck, we're not doing anything. Old riding. Schrammleben, we're gonna trade, but we're gonna trade with a purpose, i.e. the purpose of... the purpose of fixing our borders, or fixing the border gore, generally speaking, everywhere we can. Now, I wanted to get rid of Stedham and trade it for the... and trade it for Passive Stone, but we would then have to give these guys Arnau as well, and I was going to use that to fix the border gore in some ways. Namely, there's a couple locations, I think... You know what, I'll deal with this between the episodes. There's a couple locations where, yeah, see, like this, like Farlick Hills, the Wissenlanders and Reichlanders are sharing territory, and we can give it back just because it's going to bother me. So, yeah, we'll do that. For now, though, we got armies to move and possibly fights to fight, i.e. Grimgore. Now, Meline de Tremaz is waiting for these guys to be upgraded to Pegasus Knights. Therefore, perhaps this is the way to go. What's the other army here, out of curiosity? Oh, Luan's army. But Luan's army just got new stuff. That's a question.
Devotee of the lady.
I'm gonna say, considering Meline just fought a bunch of fights and her... I mean, we could easily pincushion those giants and all that, but I think this army, since it only just got maxed out, such as it is, I think this is the one we'll send. And we have no healers here, so we will have to be careful about those giants and all that stuff. Plus, keeping in mind, this is the dregs of the extra units from other forces that don't have armor or anything like that.
What is your behest?
Basically, we've had these guys since the very start of the campaign, and, well, I've been using them. But we do need to be careful with them. We do have the Battle Pilgrims maxed out in the Peasant Bowmen, which will give us more value here. This gives us a reload time and ammunition, which actually... I'm actually going to go with this. Why? Because the ammunition will help with the public... or not the public order, the... whatchamacallit. Okay, you go into regular stance.
The lady is with you.
It will help with... wait. We need somebody to reinforce to leech XP. Not you, because obviously you could help out, but...
The lady wills it.
It doesn't really matter. What was I saying? Something. Something important, I'm sure, but it's something I forgot about. Whatever. Basically, I got attached to these troops and the fact that we've had them around since the very, very beginning of the campaign and have been traded away and stuff. They don't have the bonus armor and all that, but that's all good. Luan's been around forever. So she's ranked 27, I think, might be either our highest or our second highest damsel. We've been running the campaign for a while, and we don't have a single... oh, they have catapults, too. I should have checked that. Because we have no artillery to deal with them. Alright, I guess the knights will have to work away at it. Anyway, as I was saying, we have a rank 30 point that will give us a +1 melee defense faction-wide, but none of our as-yet damsels or prophetesses have reached it, not a single one, so it does take a while to get to it. Either way, let's see if you survive. Go. Alrighty, here we go. This is gonna be very interesting. Gorbed Ironclaw himself versus our weakest army. It's going to be a big part of whether we can have the Knights Errant dish out enough damage, and the Grail Knights, our single unit of Grey Knights, dish out enough damage to the enemy before the peasants are overwhelmed by the trolls, giants, poor boys, Gorbad himself, pump wagons, etc, etc, etc. And well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. I do like this lighting in this particular map, though. It's a clear battlefield. The orcs, interestingly, waiting at the edge of a forest like this. I like it. It feels appropriate for Warband to do this, actually, being a little bit more tactical rather than, or opposed to his ilk. We are going to pop up a few spells real quick. A Chain Lightning and a Comet of Cassandora dropping upon the enemy artillery pieces. Not doing too much damage, but we're just preparing them for the charge of the various Knights Errant and Grail Guardians. Gonna move into the enemy backline real quick and right through. We can't get bogged down as the Giants and Trolls will obviously annihilate units of units of Knights Errant who are very fragile, extremely quick. So we don't want to be fighting the big boys, and we'll wheel away rather than fighting them directly. You just got to get those artillery pieces out of the picture and then try to hunt down the I was about to say boar boys, but the pump wagons and such. Here, over on the left flank, the Grail Guardians are doing that. They've taken care of one unit of pump wagons and are now moving after the second, but the battle has begun. The Trolls and the pump wagons alike, pretty devastating combination to piles of peasants, will rush through our battle lines. Very nice. Don't see a lot of flappers, actually. Usually I find there isn't really too much reason to use the flappers in the campaign, mind you, as opposed to the spiky rollers, just because they're, frankly, kind of obnoxiously overpowered for their cost. But for their cost, overpowered is not necessarily a bad thing, because they're still very, very fragile, Anyway, they have dished out damage, I'm sure, to our battle pilgrims, and the Black Orcs with shields are closing in. We're going to rear charge them real quick with the Grail Knights and then smash into the back of those Trolls, as well as Warband himself, as there isn't really anything other than the Grail Knights that is going to be able to deal with Warband and his Black Orc contingent on the front line. In the meantime, though, fortunately, while they do have massive amounts of missile resistance in SFO, what they don't have is massive amounts of armor, and so pox arrows and fire arrows alike will be used to hose down those savage giants. With only 35 armor, their HP is still dropping relatively fast. We're going to debuff Warband as well as his Black Orcs with a nice Curse of the Midnight Wind. And we'll bring our first giant down, and follow it up with bringing down the second. There we go, beautiful. A few peasants will be crushed beneath his bulk, but that's pretty much what you expect. Alrighty. Warband is still in decent shape with 50% HP remaining on the Black Orcs, but the Grail Knights are still there surrounding him. Our range units will now switch to the third of the enemy giants. But I suppose while the Giants are absorbing all of this damage that's not being absorbed by their units like Trolls and such. Alright, in the meantime, we are trying to keep back those darn units of Mangler Squigs. They're still going to be very dangerous, even to Knights. I was hoping to keep them from getting to our peasant lines. It looks like they don't kill too many of our knightly units, but they do dish out severe damage to them when they explode. On the bright side, though, it looks like Warband is down to 20% of his HP. The last of the Giants and his Black Orcs are routing, and with that, it looks like we do manage to carry the day. Very nice. Everybody shatters and the battle is ours. We actually, I think, did a little bit better than I thought we would. We still suffered about 50% damage across our entire front line, but that's to be expected, and perhaps a little bit more on some of the units like these Battle Pilgrims. Though they should actually recover fairly nicely thanks to the fact that they haven't lost quite as many models as they might have. Same with here we have Campagrottas Condottieri, who have only lost 9 units, and this will recover very close to... Oh, okay, stop losing units. How did you just lose like 5 guys? Maybe they took a volley of arrows, unless a squig exploded somewhere, or spinning loons got released. Frankly, it's an orc army, so there's a lot of possibilities. Anyway, oh wow, the orc goes flying into the screen. Well, at least these guys are still having some good time post battle. Anyway, very nice fight. Alrighty, there we go. I really enjoy this army. It's probably our simplest army that we have, but between being around for ages, A, with Luan here, and B, between the fact that this feels like a reasonably realistic army in the sense that it's a gigantic pile of peasants and only a few knights, and only one single rare Grail Knight with a bunch of the Knights Errant. Anyway, Warband defeated. Our peasant archers did actually fairly well for themselves. I'm willing to bet especially the fire ones. In this particular case, as the savage giants are low in armor and the trolls are vulnerable to fire, the non-armor piercing peasant bowmen with fire arrows actually cleaned up for themselves. The polearms did well as well. You gotta love that cavalry bane, as while the boar boys can get in, they can't get out. Sad Slanesh giggle, as the cavalry bane reduces their mass and acceleration, and they're effectively unable to leave the battle lines and just are forced to repeatedly re-engage until they're cut down by the polearms tying them up. Of course, we have the battle pilgrims also doing well with 8.3k. The Grail Knights, who, well, together with the sort of brave charge with the Knights Errant, and we're able to take out most of the enemy artillery pieces and then move back to defeat Gorbad and just menace the enemy all around. A really nice fight, and a solid nearly 4k money for it. Very nice. Alright, Scepter of Stability, Eraser Standard, always nice to have. Gorbad Ironclog, useless garbage defeat trait, one of the worst in the game. Obsidian Trinket, no, we'll give that to somebody. And, well, we'll turn it into something. And a Luckstone, same thing for you. Greenskin Errantry, oh, that's why we got so many items. Makes sense. Now, I assume that we will be able to besiege Citadel of Myrmidia with Meline d'Outremer.
I don't care
We will
for
not.
the odor.
Ah! Well, that's unfortunate.
What would you have of me?
Would you be able to
Seers.
maybe go to this side and besiege it?
I
Give it a
see
try.
my path. By the lady.
Not that's... Damn you.
Slay them.
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted.
For the
That's what I
king.
wanted. Oh, and we can't quite... Huh.
Lady of Athel.
Well, that's gonna be irritating. These guys would then attack it and draw us into the fight, but I don't want them holding territory down here. You have Siege Attacker, incidentally? You do not. You know what? I'm gonna borrow this army. And I don't really want to do anything with it, really. I just want to make sure that... Huh. Wait, did these guys' color scheme change to our color scheme? They repaint everything? Yeah, Wait, what's in the Circle of the Sun? That's some garbage units. And Toranrock has some really garbage units. Anyway, I don't want to end up just... eventually just trading Wood Elf stuff from this, and I don't want to compete with them, so... We've been plenty helpful to them. Well, let's just not do that. Anyway, Luan, you can, I guess, go back to the water. Well, it's contested, so maybe you sit... Oh, you heal here anyway. Alright, go here. And then you... Whoa, you can't follow? Not even in... Alright, fine. I don't think Mr... I'm just realizing the Black Buckthorn can move to attack you. Therefore, I'm going to put you beside, just in case. And then you... and you. You are technically supposed to be the one who holds the Ogre Bull army, but whatever. Alright, now if these guys attack us, we should be fine. I hope. Anyway, are you sure you're not able to attack this? Okay, well, whatever. Alright. Who's up next? Inez and Verna. No, you're just farmers. Leonie, you're fine. We've just moved you. Fleur, you're fine. Who is Gustave the Savior? Now we have two Gustave the Saviors? That's not gonna get confusing, game. Thanks. Alrighty. Cassillon de Caravans. You are headed to the Black Pit to knock out those orcs for good, and then you, sir, are falling. Okay, go close. Huh, this might be another place where we'll want to... Ooh, tier 4 defense. Oh, that's some good stuff. We got 2 Arachnaroks. That should be fun for the flyers. Yeah. Alrighty, and this is a big thorn in the side of, well, everybody here, so we'll knock it out. How's your building, by the way? Hey, going up to tier 2 at long last. If we had the spare money... Unfortunately, this isn't the Thorgrim campaign, so we can't ply our allies with quite literally millions of gold, hundreds of thousands every turn, which was an entertaining aspect of that particular campaign, but too bad we can't do it here, basically. Anyway, Jolene, proceed. We're sending you and your battle pilgrims through. Ooh, also, have you guys reached the point... Wait, how many levels do you guys have? I wanted to give Eldred's Casket of Sorcery to this particular army, but I don't know whether we can as yet. We have the... Yeah, so we need to get Magical Reserves and Potent on all of you before we can do that, but since we're not really focusing that as yet, we can't do it yet because we're trying to get Enchanting Beauty and Soft Spot for the small folk to buff these guys the heck up. Enchanting Beauty. And Enchanting Beauty. Fortunately, we'll want to go through Onslaught to buff them up as well, so that's on the way to Potent. Yeah. And the rest of you, I think we're
Your
okay.
cunning was foretold.
Actually, we're not okay. We need to get the Curse of Anarch here up and running as fast as possible. It'll be a while before these guys are rank 7 as well. Oh, and since we have one unit of Royal Pegasus Knights, we could put points into Guardians of the Lady. Yeah. Alrighty, Alavi, I already checked. Aeolas, Beaumont. Yes, you are traveling across the sea, buddy. Go, go, go. Let's see what we got out here. Is Marcus Wolfhard alive? What's been happening on Albion? The Albion Bowl is pretty intense, generally speaking, on this map. And hey, Marcus Wolfhard, you are alive, good buddy. How you doing? Yeah, Defensive Alliance, Trade Agreement, Military Access. We are not taking your money. You only have 2 settlements. Let's see what we're looking at. Looks like he's still kicking. Newland is reasonably well defended, but it's got the defensive slot. I guess we can build the Black Bog here. Since we got a little bit of money. Then, you guys have 5 settlements. Trade Agreement, Defensive Alliance, our first Cathan ally. Good. I like so, and let's see what we're looking at. Oh, we're still holding on, eh? Let me just see. Out of curiosity, yeah, it looks like they've basically been deadlocked between Bellicor and Crone Hellebron. The lizards died, but they seem to always die here. And then lastly, Alethanar.
You approach a dark throne. I pray you bring only light.
Somebody smack him upside the head. Anyway, trade agreement, military access. You approach a dark throne. Anyway, military access, defensive alliance. Yeah, let's go with that. I'm not doing the military alliances for now. We may switch to them, but at the very least, we'll want to build in your main province. So at Great Hogs, I guess. Yeah. Mudflats and oh, you actually have access to sea elementals. Well, isn't that lovely? And then 6 turns? I thought it would take 4 turns. Oh, go figure. Oh, I wonder if it depends on the... Oh, is this because it's a red territory? Huh. I guess we could have gone with the Isle of Wights. It's part of the Great Ohm, but we wouldn't immediately have access to... whatever, I don't care.
I will.
At the very least, I don't care enough. And then Tower of Lenog, you already have the outpost here, so Karn Malog is a little bit safer. I want access to their units immediately, and ooh. Oh, we got the Sky Lanterns as well. I love Sky Lanterns, but on the other hand, I feel like maybe I can't fit them into Bretonnian armies. Not in terms of, like, usability, they're very useful, but rather in terms of, I don't know, the aesthetic would be off. And I'm big on that. The Terracotta Automatons, Great Moonbirds we can certainly use, maybe even Celestial Lions, but anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. War Drums, ooh, gotta love a good War Drum. Much, much stronger than a Grail Relique. And if we use a War Drum with any of our armies that have Battle Pilgrims, it gives... Oh, I need 2,000 gold. It gives them a gold shield on top of the additional 25, I think, armor. So there's some good stuff. And, you know, our exile armies, if we have time to make them, could use some of the gunpowder units. Yeah. Anyway, can we get any more money? I'd like to build this right now, if possible. Let's see if any post-battle loot is acquirable. Leo Armistead, you are besieging this, but you cannot attack because you don't have siege attacker, and because the garrison recovered, to my extreme annoyance. And you don't have siege attacker either. Or at the very least, you... yeah. I was wondering whether we could swap a unit in, but it's only Chauffoy that would have siege attacker here anyway. Unfortunately. Oh well. Who's after Mr. Armistead? For Ponce. Yes. Alright, so you are gonna grab this Remnants of Battle. I'm gonna pop up that Hall of True Silver. And I believe we wanted to wait... Oh, wow, you can actually reach these guys? Huh. Oh, you can... Really? You can travel really far. Huh. Maybe that's a good idea, then. And go after these guys. You could reinforce if we needed you to, but frankly, I'm sure Ponce could handle it on her own. This would allow us to, well, this would still be an issue, but they can't escape. Actually, this is auto-resolvable. This is pretty much garbage. Huh. Would have sent you guys after this. I wanted to wait the turn, but with the response nearby, this may be a good idea to do it like this. Alberic, you could also reinforce here. Yeah, alright, that's the way we're doing it then. Alberic, you're going to go right... Huh. You're going to go into Brick, like so. No, not like, for the love of, would you please? Game, why are you making this difficult for me? Alright, you're gonna land right there. Good. Then we will declare war on these guys.
Pray to the plank with you.
But not call our allies to help.
No, I'm surrounded by fools.
You are surrounded by fools. Soon you'll be surrounded by corpses. Well, okay, you're already surrounded by corpses. Damn it! I almost had that. Oh, well. Arcane Conduit and Miscast Chance, or, you know what, Pan's Impenetrable Pelt may be a useful choice in this particular fight, as the enemy will have a lot of guns, and we may want to be able to, A, close the distance quickly, and B, resist the damage. You are... Okay, you've got Healer. Let's go through Retinue Valet until we reach Retinue Physician. And then you, sir. Retinue Valet, go figure. You... we gave you the items, or at least those items that we have room to give you for now. Let's get you Bannerman to buff up those knights that are in this army. And away we go. Do we want to attack the main army and allow the second army to come in as a reinforcement? Or do we want to attack the little army, destroy it quickly, and then destroy the reinforcing army? I'm going to say attack the little army this time. Let these guys come in as a reinforcement. If I could see what units they both had, I would probably make my decision based off of that, but we can't, so okay, you have artillery and you have even more artillery. Yeah, let's knock out these 3 artillery pieces and the deck gunners since they're so fragile. Heroic victory and casualties medium should be fun for Rapons. The last fight she'll ever have without the 2 Luminarchs of Hysh that we're going to put into her army, such that the light of Hysh echoes her halo of maidenly wrath, as is the plan. For now, though, go. Alrighty, here we go. We face down the Darkness Daughters with the Raponce's army. Still incomplete, still waiting for those Luminarchs, but hopefully it won't matter, as well, obviously we've been fighting incomplete this entire time, and, well, while there were some tough fights, we've certainly still managed to carry them. And Mr. Henri Le Massif takes some damage from the enemy carronades and such, but not long enough in that they get charged by our knightly units long before they do sufficient damage. Our peasants, of course, as usual, are going to be much slower with their 32 movement speed, but they'll get here in time. Well, whether it be in time for this first army to actually add to the fray remains to be seen, but the real fight is going to be the second army, which is a full stack, whereas this is not. Raponce duels the enemy lord while... Okay, the enemy lord gets sent somewhere. While the enemy lord's army is getting annihilated by the knights, and it looks like gets completely obliterated by them before the peasants are here. That's fine, though. We will simply position our peasants to get ready to fight the real army, and reposition the knights to sort of charge their flanks and, well, and just take better positions, essentially, depending on how that fight goes. Anyway, Rapon still has to defeat the enemy lord, who now gets charged by Henri Le Massif. I would have left Rapons to finish the enemy lord off, who has no chance against her, but the admiral was kind of getting in the way of the peasants, which were trying to get into position, but constantly keep getting engaged. There we go. And one more hit, but oh, here comes Henri Le Massif to steal the kill with 1 blow remaining. Come on, man. Unbelievable. Anyway, the enemy reinforcements have arrived now. We have put 3 of our knights, i.e. the unit of the Peregrines here to lead the 2 units of Knights Errant, and I was hoping to charge directly through the enemy lines and into their artillery pieces. Unfortunately, since the enemy was waiting for its reinforcements to arrive, its reinforcements will arrive at the edge of the map, and there isn't really anything we can do about that, just because the artillery pieces have long enough range that they would have just sat here at the edge anyway, so it's life. Ooh, and the Peregrines take a fair bit of damage from the enemy fire. And actually, fighting along the sort of edge like this is kind of detrimental, as there's a limit to how close you can get to the edge as well. But what can you do? Anyway, we charge on in, and ooh, a unit of Sirens and a previously stalking hidden units of Morngulls block our knights off. Unfortunate, at least over on this side, but we do have 2 more units of knights that we held back somewhat in reserve, which is the units of Knights of the Realm here. They will start by charging an enemy unit of animated hulks, which are fortunately fragile enough for the anti-large to put in the work. Henri le Massif takes a massive amount of damage from the enemy Carronades this time, dropping down to about 45% of his HP, but does manage to close the distance with the Carronades. And now we just try to move whatever units we can through the enemy ranks towards their backliners, whether it be the artillery or the handgunners. Knights are still trying to use their mass to push through, while the peasants hold back the horror of the zombies and their zombie crabs. Yeah, that's gotta be unpleasant and confusing for the poor peasants, facing off against a zombie crab with a couple of guys with a frickin' hand cannon on it. And the rotting Promethean gunnery mobs being pretty fantastic units also, well, probably doesn't help all that much to the poor little peasants. Oh, although I'm not seeing the hand cannons fire off that much. Or at least maybe those weren't. What's their reload time, I wonder? Oh, they melted away. Okay, well, I'll check next time. Either way, since they're melting, it looks like everybody else is melting as well. And he's the only one who can deal with the enemy deck droppers, so he will lift up. But it looks like the knights managed to push through and break down the enemy artillery pieces. And once we drop the last of the deck droppers, the battle will be ours. There we go. Funny little pose from the zombie, very nonchalant way of dropping down. And this pad looks like he's diving rather than dying, but yeah, anyway. Oh, alright, a very nice fight with Mr. Henri le Massif taking a huge, would you say a massive amount of damage as all the guns and cannons tried to focus him down. The Peregrines also took a fair bit of a beating, keeping in mind that the questing knights don't have shields on them, and thusly are more vulnerable to armor-piercing missile fire from the vampire coast. But yeah, I'm thinking Henri might need a little more, I don't know, ward save, missile resistance, something, to make sure that he doesn't get brought down like that. Anyway, I did say we needed a little bit of money, so we'll take it. And, oh, I was going to chase down what remained of here. Well, okay, looks like we're good then. Anyway, Gleaming Pennant, I don't really care about the Gleaming Pennants generally speaking, but, you know, we'll keep it. And I guess we'll go right to the edge of the Golden Sea here, so we should be able to recover, and I guess we'll just send Raponce down to the Castillo de Estragon and have her take it out. You go to Almagora, I guess, and you have to deliver these Luminarchs, which will allow Folcat to not have to move over here, and instead move this way. Which is nice. I wish I could see where Gentleman Jenkins was, but we can't, so we're just going to sort of carefully move up. Oh. Reef Attrition versus Storm Attrition. This entire area is irritating. Yeah, maybe we should, you know what, then I guess I changed my mind. You're gonna do this. You're gonna land here, walk or run to Videnza.
I see my path.
Heal there, get ready to take Spine Port and Porto Real, and then we can use the Isle of Grief's ports to grab this real quick instead of bothering with Gentleman Jenkins. Also, you don't have Siege Attacker, buddy, and therefore Spine Port's going to be a problem. We should really get you a Siege Attacker. Well, okay, not every army is going to have Siege Attacker. It's impossible, okay? I don't want to put monsters or something in every single army. It doesn't do it for me. At least not with Bretonnia. Anyway, let's see who else needs to move. Ooh, actually, you know what? I had a couple of things that I wanted to do. The paladin that was with Riola's bow mod, though he is going to leave this army. This is kind of a brigandy, stocky army, and I think, while this was supposed to be a name for a scout, you can be Sir Valence, because it kind of makes sense that you sort of earned your stripes, I guess, in a, well, like I said, stocky, sneaky army. Yes, that's what I'm going with. And then...
My deeds are
yeah, I'll do it later. Anyway, Gustave, Olivier, or Olivier rather, who do we have? I thought I already checked Leo Armas. Oh, right, he's besieging. Right. Okay, that was Rapunzel and Theodoric, who we have not moved. Who was originally, well, maybe not originally, but going up to deal with these guys. Oh, we also need to fix Montlac, since that irritation. We'll do that, and, oh, before I forget a second time, I should say, Karn Malog. We are building the outpost here. Oh, lovely. And yeah, I think, on the one hand, maybe I should have sent somebody up to at least scout these guys out earlier, but I fear that if I had, what would have happened is the same thing that happened to the Golden Order, which had occupied all of these territories, and Teclis, which had occupied all of these territories, including his capital, and as soon as we made friends with them, they decided, oh, we're gonna die now. So, yeah, probably not worth risking. Anyway, Theodoric, and you know what? I'm keeping quest units in your army so you can have a name. The Tale Tellers, like so. Yes. Or just Tale Tellers, not the... Alright, there we go. Alrighty. Kind of makes sense for the poet guy and his army. And also, you, Royal Pegasus Knights, will want to be immune to contact effects. And also, what do you guys have? It's just casualty punishment rate and dismounting, eh? I like the casualty or punishment rate, but in the event that we get into a siege, we may want to have them move with the war dancers up into the towers. And therefore, I think you will dismount. Oh, we don't have enough. Okay, well, once we have enough valor, if I remember. Anyway, since you're going this way anyway, you're going to continue moving this way. Like so. Alright, so that was Theodoric de Brienne, and I need to keep checking the friars to make sure. Disciplined. Decent. It's not as good as disciplined used to be. I think it was +2/+2 melee attack and defense, but it's been severely nerfed because I guess everybody would build it instead of everything else. But I think +1 melee attack, +1 leadership is kind of man. Now it makes the pendulum swung too far essentially. But anyway, Theodoric, you're fine. Armand Aquitaine, you are going to get well, actually, Etienne, we are going to give you these guys. Armand, I decided we were going to make into an army with a lot of foot squires, and we'll see what other things we can put in there. We are waiting for the other Grove Guardians, so I guess again you're going to keep waiting. Yeah, that'll be an interesting army. We'll put some Bowmen in there just for a sort of different variety of range units. I'll think about it. Or we could just go with crossbows. Although I also don't want to repeat, you know, make it similar to other armies. It's just that I want the aspirant hoods to sort of shine in a couple of armies, since we haven't really had the ability to use them because they take absolute ages to get to rank 6 and actually upgrade them. The only way we managed it here was because this thing gave us the additional +2 recruit rank, and then whatever else here that we had gives us additional recruit rank to help out with that, basically. Oh, I think it was actually the Green Knight. Oh, actually, you know what? Just in case we need them. I don't know that we will. Oh, we won't be able to do it this turn. Okay, we'll have one more turn. I was gonna say we'll grab a couple more Arimo at this level so that we can potentially upgrade them. Frankly, this would have been a good idea to grab a few extra brigands of various types, because out of this high rank we could quickly upgrade them as needed. Huh. We could even, if we wanted to deliver them, rather than waiting on these guys to become flayers, immediately get flayers. Only we had more cash, but anyway. I lost my place, unfortunately. Gaspard Lebeau, that was not you. Tancred. Beaumont is fine where he is. I think I went past where I was earlier. Oh, whatever. Whatever, too late. Elwaz, you're fine. Again, you are waiting, again, for one more turn, I think, and then you'll be ready to go. Adelard, you're waiting for one more turn as well before we declare war on the Vampire Coast. Leon, Lebel, and Arnaud, the Devoted, you're waiting for heroes. Well, actually, mostly Arnaud. Vivienne, you're fine. Jesper, you're waiting for ogres, and that's it. All right. Sounds like an end turn to me, unless we can somehow get money from diplomacy. Okay. Exiles of Nehek. We could go for the non-aggression pact. Little bit wary of it. Maybe. You know what? Do we take the money? Their armies are free, so this is one... Katep. Katep, please. See, this is why you got exiled. You wouldn't shut up. Etc. Yeah. Anyway, oh, everybody's bullying poor Katep. Anyway, non-aggression pact will do it for the money. Yes, wise indeed. Then we will use Etienne to quickly get a few, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys wouldn't be able to be upgraded immediately, but let's say 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that was all we had money for. I noticed that the Axis Men are more expensive, so that we could probably get more of these. Yeah, we get one more like this. Alright, well, that's what we'll do then. Oh, funnily enough, we could get your rabble recruiter. It's not like these guys are super point hungry or anything, which would save us on the cash. We could eventually get you into Fleeting Shadow if we really wanted to. Yeah, maybe it's worth it. Alright. Rabble recruiter, 1, 2, 3. Funnily enough, oh, if we had the... Well, I was about to say commandment. Now, with the rabble recruiter, you can go 1, 2, 3... 158, that's much better. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then... Might even be able to afford these guys, but anyway, where are the Erimo? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Max that out while we have the Green Knight to increase the recruit rank, and then we'll do the same thing next turn, trade them, and then, you know, at least we'll have them to transfer them to whichever army we may want to send them to, with the additional armor for those units that need it, but mostly they don't because they're mostly upgraded now. What's the caravan like? Oh, I guess we're about to find out whether this caravan will die. Alright. Skip. Hero not moved? I thought I moved all the heroes. I'm just going to assume that I did. Commandment available? Yes. Realm of Chivalry. Got to upgrade Magritta to get that Archiecclesiastium. And damage building where? High deck? We don't care about high deck. And we will be trading it to the Imperials. End turn. Alright, moment of truth. What will happen with Elspeth? What will happen with whoever vampire guy was there? And what is this? You want us to declare war on the Doom Legion. We're gonna be a little bit busy with the Norskins under Wilfric, the World Walkers. So perhaps we'll forgo that for now. And just continue helping by taking those guys out, which I'm sure are going to be a bigger threat than the Doom Legion or whoever that was. And did Elspeth lose her stack, or did she sack a nearby territory and move away? I wish I could see what the heck happened here. Huh. And where is our caravan gonna go? If it stops right here, then they will attack it with multiple armies and it'll die. What is this? I forgot about you. Oh, that's annoying. That's my bad, guys. I moved Alberic here to auto-resolve, and they raised that to make it a full stack. Yep, that's absolutely my bad. Are you going to take this territory? No, you're going to sack it. Well, Alberic should be able to chase you down. I completely forgot about this army existing. But hey, you should be used to it. I do that all the time with sieges where I just leave the siege up and running and then promptly forget to do anything about it. It is what it is. And alright, the caravan survives. I'm actually curious, do they move only from node to node or do they stop between? Where is the caravan now? You moved to Gripfell? Or Gipfell? Alright, we're gonna grab that later. We're gonna grip it rather than gip it. Ambush discovered, Elegance Outpost, Great Incantation of Kassar, Wild Fail, Settlement sacked, deal with you in a second. Raider for the Fay Enchantress, Raider for Bowmen, everybody's raiding because they're spreading the word. Ready for duty, Maxime the Devoted, technology researched. Yeah, that'll give us a little bit of extra cash. We have some of these. Enemy killed in battle, or a hero action success chance. Battle Axe of Theodric. Wait a second. Battle Axe? Oh, right, this is Theodric. I thought that was full car for a moment, and I was like, wait a second, how many weapons does this guy need? But no, this is Theodric, and that's fine. Yeah, physical resistance. You like fighting Norska, eh? Well, I think we can make that happen, buddy. Keller de Garmont, I'd love to keep you on Galibor because it's a named mount, and I once again petition the devs to please add a little lock here, just right, there's even space for it, right here, press the lock, mounts don't automatically change. Such an irritating thing to have over the course of, like, a long campaign. As towards the end, you have a million billion heroes, and they're always constantly changing mounts, and you're supposed to remember who's supposed to have what and keep what and whatnot. Anyway, I was curious about the caravan. Huh. Okay, so Hornell, I think, is not a node. Oh, actually, it is. Okay, so you move from node to node, so you wouldn't have stopped here anyway. Okay, that's nice. At the very least, it works for us. Yeah. Alright, well, either way, I think we're more or less out of time here. I was originally thinking that we would have we'd be forced into a fight against the enemy attacking caravans, but clearly it didn't happen here. Would one of you please take Grunberg? Do we really need to send somebody out here? Okay, I think we're gonna have to do it ourselves. Ugh, maybe I should send you out this way then. Alright, Dirthu's chasing these guys around, but backing off from their main settlements. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm gonna move you now just so that I don't forget, and so that I similarly don't forget, let's deal with this. Real quick before we end the turn. Or end the episode, rather. We just ended the turn. Shut up. That's how long my memory is, guys. Not for nothing I keep saying it's bad. Anyway, alright, the mask, we're just gonna auto-resolve this. There's no need to fight it. Go into a camp stance and then attack. Hopefully this will give you the final XP you need. Decisive victory, low casualties. We're not fighting the same battle twice. I like so. Occupy. I hate when it punts you out of the fight like that. And yeah, River Eboro. This is going to need a nice realm of chivalry, and we'll go for Clothier. Alright, and the Accursed Troop destroyed. There we go. That means everybody here is ready to move on to Sartosa. And Alberic, sorry buddy, you're gonna need to do this. Do we want you to chase him down? Yeah, sure, why not? I'm gonna follow him around anyway. And then Jean de Yoink, you're going this way, and then Therese, you're actually supposed to... Ooh. You're supposed to... Give me a moment. Alberic, wait, how far can you travel? You're supposed to go into Alberic's army. Alberic, go here. Transfer to Camille. This little field treb. Then, Therese, we will have you move into... Oh, I just thought of something. What we could do is have follower armies with a bunch of, you know, peasant mobs and stuff, and then just give them some field trebs so that if we have need of siege attacker for those armies that don't have siege attacker, we could do that. Anyway, go after Eleonora, please, and then actually change stances. And are you not in range? Thank you. There we go. Let's see how far you go. Please don't run around the river. Don't run around the... Okay. Made me nervous there for a second. You go here.
My path is clear. Duke of Bretonnia.
Yeah. Duke of Bretonnia. Alright, and then auto-resolve.
And lady.
I'm gonna take the money. Because we needed 4 additional stuff. Wouldn't you know it. Alrighty, there we go. With that, the Castillo d'Estragon here will fall next episode, most likely. And the Darkness Daughters will be destroyed. Again, I would have loved to ally with them, but, well, the tech precluded the ability, or precludes the ability of doing so just by virtue of the unfortunate damage. Oh, I actually don't want these guys to lose their territory here, so yeah, I think it's time to declare war upon the Pirates of Sartosa, not a moment too soon, go figure. So, that will be the start of next episode, as well as whatever else we get up to down here in the Badlands, and everywhere else as the wars yet continue. As long as the interest in this campaign remains, so don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.